episode 422 of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. I will be talking about tonight's WWE Monday Night RAW, featuring a WWE Undisputed Tag Team Championship match in the main event, and talk a little pro wrestling news right here, right now. 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Hey, Wrestling Fanatics. Thank you for tuning in tonight. I am your host, Lance Brock, as always. And as I said in that little preview thingy there, I will be talking about tonight's episode of WWE Monday Night RAW. And without any further ado, let's get right into it. Tonight, Monday Night RAW was live from Wichita, Kansas, at the Intrust Bank Center. Our commentators, Kevin Patrick and Corey Graves. Tonight we start things off on Raw. Adam Pearce is in the ring for the presentation to Rhea Ripley of the new World Women's Championship. And just like the World Heavyweight Championship on Raw, it is the same design, just white leather. And you guessed it, of course, just a little bit after it was revealed on Raw tonight, you can now order the replicas on WWEshop.com. Which, no surprise there. And I'm just kind of not sure why they don't make any more original designs. They have both the men's and women's major championships on Raw and SmackDown that look the same, just different colors. Well, actually it was like that with the other ones too, but I don't know why they don't have different designs. Just maybe it's just me. And of course, Dominic Mysterio is out there, and they are confronted by the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes after what happened last week. And then we find out later on tonight, I know I'm skipping ahead, that at Money in the Bank 1-on-1, we will see Cody Rhodes take on Dominic Mysterio. I'm actually kind of looking forward to this match. Actually, I think they could have a good match, and I think the promos with the heel heat Dominic has been getting as of late, I think the build-up could be very good for this match. And next up, tonight on Raw, we kick off the in-ring action with Cody Rhodes taking on The Miz. And this one, I actually thought was a pretty good match between Cody and Miz. They worked a good match here, and Cody Rhodes gets the win, defeating The Miz. And next on Raw, we have the man Becky Lynch in the ring. And then we see Zoe Stark. And then this leads to a match between Becky Lynch and Chelsea Green, which Becky Lynch gets the win via submission. And next up is a men's Money in the Bank qualifying match. It is the Judgment Day's Damian Priest taking on the original Bro Matt Riddle. Really good match here. I think Damian Priest has been having very good matches as of late, and he's been looking great in the ring. There's been kind of some teases of possibly a babyface turn in the future, but not quite just yet. Again, this week on Raw, we saw the Judgment Day in the back, and he told Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Rhea Ripley not to go out there with him, to stay in the back so he can do it on his own. And he defeats Matt Riddle to qualify for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. And then after the match, we see Imperium make their way out. Gunther and Geyser this week. They come out as Damian Priest is exiting the ring, and they look at each other, and Priest says to Gunther, pick the bones, and they go in there in the ring, and it's a 2-on-1 attack on Riddle. And next up, we see Byron Saxton in the back with Natalya Neidhart, and she says being herself hasn't worked out for her, and maybe she doesn't know who she is anymore, and she walks off. Kind of interesting to see what this is going to lead to for Natalya, possibly doubting herself, and maybe we could see some sort of a character change for Natty. And I don't think this is going to be like leading to a retirement storyline or anything, but possibly like a change of character or something. And hopefully anyway, because Natalya definitely a good worker, and I think she deserves to be in the women's title picture, or at least I would like to see her in there anyway. And next up, Bronson Reed taking on Ricochet. Nakamura comes out to ringside, gets involved. Reed wins via disqualification, and we find out that next week we will see Bronson Reed versus Shinsuke Nakamura. And next up on Raw, we see one half of the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Shayna Baszler, defeat Raquel Rodriguez. And we find out that the unification match between the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, taking on the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, Isla Dawn and Alba Fire, will take place on SmackDown 1 week from this Friday night. And I'm kind of surprised they're not putting that one on Money in the Bank. But I want to say, I believe that SmackDown, though, will be from the UK, though. Will also be from London, I believe. And that should be a pretty good tag team match anyway. And we see in the back the Alpha Academy, Chad Gable and Otis, are kind of training Maxine Dupree, teaching her an arm drag. And our next match here on Raw is Chad Gable taking on Eric from the Viking Raiders. And at one time, we see kind of a stare down from opposite sides of the ring between Valhalla and Maxine. Valhalla immediately goes over to the other side to attack Maxine, but she gets her with an arm drag, and then that causes Ivar to go over there, and him and Otis start to get into it. Eric is distracted by that. Chad Gable is able to pin him, get the win in the ring. So Alpha Academy outsmarts the Viking Raiders here. And our main event tonight on this week's Monday Night RAW for the WWE Undisputed Tag Team Championships, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn taking on Imperium, the Intercontinental Champion for 1 year now, Guthner, and Ludwig Kaiser. Good main event here, and it is Owens and Zayn defeating Imperium to retain the Undisputed Tag Team Championships in what I thought was a pretty good main event on Raw this week. And that was tonight's WWE Monday Night RAW. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good show tonight. Had some good wrestling. Not bad at all. I wouldn't say it was a real great show, but like I said, there was some good matches on the show tonight. So overall, I would say good. And heading into Money in the Bank on pay-per-view, which looks like it will be a pretty good show live from London, England at the O2 Arena, 3 p.m. Eastern start time. So looking forward to that. And also, now let's get into some quick pro wrestling news. And unfortunately, BJ Whitmer was arrested for domestic abuse, which very unfortunate. So, and we find out now that he has been fired from AEW. Not a surprise, but AEW has announced that he has been fired. He has been working as an agent backstage with AEW and also on Ring of Honor. Of course, BJ Whitmer has been with AEW for a little bit now. Long time with Ring of Honor before Tony Khan purchased it. And also I saw one thing earlier today that AEW still hasn't made a decision just yet on the commentary team for Saturday Collision. Will definitely be interesting to see who they end up going with and put on commentary this Saturday night for the first episode. Also, I didn't mention it during the Raw recap, but they replayed the tribute video that aired last Friday night on SmackDown for the Iron Sheik. And also, I didn't talk about it this morning on GMWF when I talked about WWE Superstar Sunday on A&E, WWE's Most Wanted Treasures, and Stone Cold Takes on America. But a little before the new episodes aired last night, they re-aired the biography WWE Legends of the Iron Sheik. Very good episode, and if you haven't seen that one yet, I definitely recommend checking that one out. Good episode of Biography WWE Legends. And another thing that I forgot to mention from tonight's Raw, we found out that next week Logan Paul will be returning to Raw, possibly to set up a match. I don't know if this will be for Money in the Bank or maybe not till SummerSlam, or maybe both. He might be on both cards. And also on Raw next week, Seth Rollins issued an open challenge for the World's Heavyweight Championship. Also, one thing I forgot to put in my notes, as usual, I usually forget some things, unfortunately, but Seth Rollins agreed to defend the World Heavyweight Championship against Finn Balor at Money in the Bank. Pretty good back and forth promo segment between those two on Raw tonight. And I did mention this, but I'll mention it once again. We will also see Cody Rhodes and Dominic Mysterio go one-on-one at Money in the Bank. Also, some more AEW news. They are now advertising for AEW Collision in Toronto. And I want to say the other Canadian shows as well. He might show up there. Wouldn't be surprised anyway. And Mercedes Moné, former IWGP Women's Champion, is now recovering from surgery. So hopefully speedy recovery for her after she lost the match for the NJPW Strong Women's Championship to Willow Nightingale recently. Hopefully she'll be back soon. And there's been some talk online lately that there was some serious talks between her and AEW about appearing at Forbidden Door. And that is all of the news I have for right now. And that's all for this episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic, episode 422. Thank you once again for tuning in, everyone. Remember, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, if you wanna, you can feel free to leave your opinion on tonight's Monday Night RAW, on last night's Most Wanted Treasures, Stone Cold Takes on America, some memories you may have of the Iron Sheik. You can leave them in the comment section right here on Spreaker or whichever app, website, podcatcher, pod, listen place, whichever you want to call it, whichever one you listen to 360 Wrestling Podcast on. Also, if you have a product or a service or a company and you want to advertise right here, 360 Wrestling Podcasts, 360 Wrestling Fanatic, Good Morning Wrestling Fans, email me, 360wrestlingpodcast@gmail.com. Hopefully we can work something out. I'll try to do a great ad for you right here on the podcast. once again, just email me, let me know at 360wrestlingpodcast@gmail.com. And as always, I hope to have more new episodes of 360 Wrestling Fanatic coming real soon. But one thing is for sure, I will be here tomorrow morning for the Tuesday episode of GMWF. So I hope everyone else will be too. But until then, I am Lance and I am a wrestling fanatic.